Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. Microsoft unveiled their next generation Xbox console at the Video Game Awards, called Xbox Series X. It boasts an impressive set of features. On the output front, it will support 4K at 60 FPS, with 120 FPS being possible. It's compatible with variable refresh rate, aka FreeSync and G-Sync monitors, as well as offering the option for 8K output, though no frame rate is given for that. It will use the latest generation GPU technology from AMD, referred to as RDNA. This is what currently powers the AMD 5000 series GPUs. Xbox Series X also supports two advanced technologies that made big strides this year: variable rate shading and ray tracing. Variable rate shading, in straightforward terms, lets the GPU decide how much processing power to dedicate to a specific area of every frame. Wolfenstein Youngblood and Call of Duty Modern Warfare both leverage this technology to boost frame rates while maintaining a high fidelity image. It's like the next evolution of upscaling and super sampling combined, but way smarter. Also, when it comes to ray tracing, it's unclear exactly what the scope of support for it will be on the Xbox Series X. Implementation of the technology on PC has varied from game to game. Some developers utilize it just for reflections, as we've seen in Battlefield 5. Others use it for global illumination. Nvidia themselves fully ray-traced Quake 2. Each implementation comes with a different performance impact. Some games run great with ray tracing enabled, others struggle under the additional load. So it'll be interesting to see what the new console's hardware is capable of. Microsoft are also boasting a new SSD solution for the console that will virtually eliminate load times. Currently, most consoles offer an internal SSD. In general, once you have your game loaded on a decent SSD, the bottleneck becomes how fast your CPU can process loading it. The final major feature is a new auto low latency mode that will let developers have more direct control over input latency on their games. When it comes to backwards compatibility, all Xbox One games and accessories will work with the Xbox Series X. The new console ships with what looks like an Xbox Elite controller, but it has a new share button. Older titles like 360 and original Xbox titles will also work. Cross-platform support will let Xbox One and Xbox Series X users play together. According to some outlets, the Xbox Series X will be at least twice as powerful as the Xbox One X. That would edge it into the lower end of today's high-end PC hardware. Overall, it looks like Microsoft are finally swinging for PC performance territory with a console. High frame rate gaming has pretty much always been limited to the PC platform. The Xbox Series X supporting 120 FPS gaming will be the first modern console to standardize high frame rate support. The current gen Xbox consoles support 120 Hz output, but few games, if any, on it achieve more than 60 FPS, either by design or necessity due to the aging hardware. If the Xbox Series X lives up to this hype, it could be the first console to make inroads in the PC gaming space. At the very least, it will be a massive win for console players that have been stuck playing games at 30 to 60 FPS. The solid-state drive will also be a massive win for gamers who are tired of looking at load screens. The massive level of compatibility with older titles and crossplay with older systems is great. It means that upgrading console hardware is no longer the huge investment that it used to be. Getting a whole new series of games, waiting for your friends to get the new console, seeing who has it, it's no longer the same kind of question. In fact, it much more reflects upgrading a PC. If you are playing games and you want them to run faster or better or look nicer, you can upgrade and get a new PC. Or if there's a really cool new game that requires a much more powerful PC to run, well, that could be another reason to upgrade. This seems like a very similar decision when it comes to console hardware, and that's very cool. It seems like the difference between PC gaming and console gaming is going to get smaller and smaller, and I have to commend Microsoft for designing their current gen console in such a way. The Xbox Series X launches in the 2020 holiday season. No price has been confirmed. As for games at launch, we know it will have Halo Infinite and Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 as launch titles. While Sony weren't as forthcoming about the upcoming PlayStation 5 hardware, they did reveal one of its launch titles at the Game Awards. Godfall is a fantasy looter slasher focused on melee combat. It's the first game announced for the PlayStation 5 and looks like a hybrid of Destiny and Warframe. Speaking of Warframe, the big spaceship combat expansion we've been waiting for all year is now live. EMPYREAN adds player-controlled spaceships that can engage in ship-to-ship combat, be boarded, and fly around to invade other players. It's a pretty major addition to the game. Until now, vehicles haven't played a significant role in combat, aside from getting to and from places in the open world areas. More substantial updates are in the works for Warframe, but details are scarce right now. In Battlefield 5 news, DICE finally broke their silence on the 5.2 TTK changes. A hotfix will be deployed next week that further tunes the more heavily affected weapons. Across the board, the changes improve short-range TTK times. At longer ranges, not much is changing. That said, the maximum number of bullets to kill is being reduced from 13 to 10. So no weapons should be taking more than 10 shots to kill someone, regardless of the range. That's still pretty extreme though, so we'll have to see how it plays and if DICE is willing to make further changes. DICE also added Wake Island last week. It's the third map set in the Pacific Theater of War. Aside from its basic layout, it's as much a reimagining of the classic map as Operation Underground is of Metro. While it's a gorgeous map to look at, it leaves a bit to be desired when it comes to visibility and vehicle balance, especially on the breakthrough game mode. Finally, this week's Tides of War weapon is the BAR M1918A2. It's a light machine gun that performs in a similar fashion to the Madsen. It offers a fast rate of fire mode that turns it into something similar to the FG42. The BAR is an interesting addition to the game, and it's only going to get stronger once the hotfix goes live next week. If you want full details and reviews on all of this Battlefield 5 news, be sure to check out my videos. I covered all the new stuff and upcoming changes in detail. Those videos will be linked below. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds creator Brendan Green revealed his next game. Currently called Prologue, it's not specifically linked to PUBG. It's also not likely to be a battle royale. A cryptic website for the game says, the aim with this game is to give players unique and memorable experiences each and every time they play. Given Green's penchant for survival games, it sounds a lot like a hardcore survival game. Another survival game is getting a direct sequel. Sons of the Forest is a direct follow-up to the 2014's The Forest. The original game was available as an early access title until its full release in early 2018. Since then, it's sold quite well and has had a fairly healthy player base. The new game looks like it's kicking the visuals and creepy factor up a notch. Tactical co-op shooter 9 to 5 got its world premiere at the Video Game Awards. The trailer starts off with a tongue-in-cheek play on other tactical shooters' more cartoony elements like funny cosmetics and picturesque locations. It then transitions to an indoor environment with a much more tactical-looking group of characters. The devs are saying it will focus more on teamwork and strategy than other games in the genre. Alpha signups are now live, but there's no ETA for release. DATAMINE has revealed a potential new map for Rainbow Six Siege. It's called Stadium, and you guessed it, it's set in a stadium. The map will apparently be part of an event for the 2020 Rainbow Six Invitational, so it probably won't be a permanent addition to the game. November was a good month for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The game continued to dominate sales charts, outselling every game for the second month in a row. Season 1 just kicked off, adding new maps, cosmetic items, and more. More content is expected to release later on in the season. Sci-fi shooter Control got a new mode called Expeditions. It's set in an alternate dimension connected to a location in the main game. Once players reach a certain point in the main story, a jukebox will be unlocked that transports them to this new area. You can choose higher tiers of difficulty and complete objectives to earn rewards. Expeditions looks like a decent reason to get back into Control and is the first of 4 planned expansions for the game. Amazon Game Studios have revealed their open-world MMO, New World. Due out on PC in May 2020, it features a classless progression system, crafting, solo, co-op, raids, and more. The setting is a bold choice. As the name implies, players will find themselves in the 1600s exploring a strange new world. Of course, instead of Native Americans, you'll be fighting undead creatures. A beta will be offered to pre-order customers. 2K Games have announced a new BIOSHOCK title. It's being developed by a newly formed studio, Cloud Chamber. The studio is being led by a who's who of senior 2K employees. Unfortunately, the franchise's former lead director and writer, Ken Levine, isn't attached to the new studio or game. BIOSHOCK Infinite and its subsequent DLCs pretty neatly wrapped up the franchise's overall story, so it's unclear what the new game will tackle. Apex Legends has a new holiday event called Mirage's HOLO-DAY Bash. It offers a limited time mode, Winter Express. It's a non-battle royale mode that pits 3 teams of 3 players each against each other. The teams compete to capture the map's train as it goes from station to station. Everyone has a preset loadout and respawns are enabled for each new round as a match progresses. Loadouts will rotate daily for the mode to mix things up. Of course, there's also event-themed cosmetic items to unlock as well. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what story you thought was the most interesting, or if there's something you think we might have overlooked. And I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.